Has the ascendance of the smartphone caused today's breakdown in child mental health?
Get over here! Because I said so! Why do I have to keep repeating myself? Mom or Dad, do you ever feel like a broken record? You're listening to Learn to Speak Kid podcast on iTunes with Bonnie and Thomas Leota, positively transforming families one out-of-control child at a time.
2 Timothy 4, 3, and 4. For the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn their ears away from the truth and turn aside to myths. So many lies floating around the internet, we can't even get to them all. But blaming smartphones is like blaming Elvis in the 50s or the Beatles in the 60s, then Madonna. And when I was a teenager, rap was going to be the death of me. You see, we're always looking for outside reasons for why teenagers are committing suicide, for why children are being diagnosed with ADHD and oppositional defiant disorder and depression and anxiety. In a recent viral article called "With Teen Mental Health Deteriorating Over 5 Years, There's a Likely Culprit." A guess, a theory. The article states that there's a correlation between the fact that 73% of teens now owning smartphones and the increased suicide rates between 2012 and 2015. It says that teens who spent more than 5 hours a day online were 71% more likely to experience at least one suicidal risk factor like depression. Here are a few things I want you to consider, Mom or Dad. Who supplies and buys the screens? What role does your child play in making your home a happy, harmonious, fun place to live? Number 3, when has your child ever set a goal to earn a smartphone and then earned it on their own? You see, suicide may be increasing on a daily basis and may have increased more between 2012 to 2015 in recent history, but it's been steadily increasing since 1983 when the grandfather of Naughty Time, or what you and I know as timeouts, grandson committed suicide on Christmas Eve, Jesus' birthday, by jumping off the roof of the building that his father worked at. Do you think he had a message to share? See, teenagers have a message to share, and they're sharing it in the only way they know how. Disruptive child behavior and suicide, not to mention high school gun shooting massacres. Psalm 33:11. But the plans of the Lord stand firm forever, the purposes of his heart through all generations. Through all generations. It's time to wake up and find the real reason, the truth behind the breakdown in child mental health in this generation. And it's time to wake up right now. By the way, I'm Bonnie Leota, and I'm going to introduce you to my co-host, my partner, my husband, Thomas Leota. Please know that we come from more than 45 years combined experience in the study of human behavior. Thomas owned and operated a after-school program in the state of Washington for nearly 15 years, helping thousands of children, just like the ones we're talking about, find their champion self. And now we're bringing it to you so you can do the same thing. Thomas, what are your thoughts?
Something has to change. When we look at the end result of suicides going up and up and up, there's got to be a trigger. Let's think for a moment about this. Could you imagine somebody happy, just go lucky, goes to bed thinking, what can I do to end this right here, right now. Let's think about us parents. Is there anything that we would do when we go to bed and think, what could I do that could help my child make a decision to commit suicide? And if I'm like you and you're like me, those thoughts never even crossed our mind willingly. However, what if there was something that we were doing that we didn't even know? And it's happening right here, right now. Could you imagine having a friend that you're having a conversation with and you see a little bit of spinach or something green in your teeth when you're at lunch, and they see it and didn't say a word? They let you walk around the rest of the day, and when you got to the bathroom, you saw it in the mirror and you thought to yourself, wow, it must have been there for 3 hours after I left lunch. I wish somebody would have told me. Because you don't go to lunch thinking, what can I do to put inside my teeth that makes me look blank? But we're here and we can understand this example. These things are happening, and there is at least a dozen things to look for that we can actually see, wow, I could easily remove the green thing from my teeth. I could easily course correct the path that my child was on. Because our children are reaching out to us and they're explaining to us in a language that nobody taught them how to communicate. And they're doing the best they can with what they know. And we as a society are missing message after message after message until it gets to the point where the last thing that they can do is flip the switch and do auto self-destruct, just like you see in the movies when the spaceship decides to put into self-destruct mode and they commit suicide. But there was so many things that could have been caught before, and that's where we're bringing some awareness today.
Yes, it's not your fault. We want to be really crystal clear here. It's not your fault. Everything has a purpose. God is so good. You see, we only change with contrast. You know, the new artificial intelligence that they use through computers, that artificial intelligence is like us. It's like our mind. It's been developed after how humans think. And you see, artificial intelligence will only correct itself in contrast when it actually gets something wrong. And you see, for 85 years, we've been being led down a dark and toxic path. We've been taught no child left behind. We've been taught positive praise, so-called positive discipline. We've been taught to be, do, and have everything for our kids. For some reason, if this generation of parents says, hey, I get my kids to make their own lunch, you're considered a bad parent. Everybody around you will judge you. And at the same time, we're the same parents that are complaining about the behavior of our kids, that they're entitled, that they're disrespectful, that they're lazy, that they seem depressed, that they spend 5 hours or more a day on screen time. Like, who sets the environment in our homes? So I don't think it's the screen time, but it could be 5 hours plus of no purpose in life, no drive, no inner energy. So I'm very passionate about this because our kids are dying, and if they're not dying physically, they're dying spiritually, they're dying intellectually. There's a universal law called sowing and reaping. We reap what we sow. And if we're reaping things that we haven't sown a seed for, like buying your 16-year-old a car or buying your 10-year-old a smartphone, unless the child has actually set a goal, made a plan, worked for, and attained success on their own, then the truth is Most kids are living a sheltered life, and it's causing them more harm than their spirit can even survive. And with that being said, many are not surviving. It really is time to wake up, and it's time to get this, and there's no time to be gentle with our egos right now. Your mom, your dad, you're a leader of children listening to this podcast, then it's your responsibility to step up for the sake of your kids and accept personal responsibility in what's happening so we can make a change. Let's make teenage suicide have a bigger purpose. Let's start listening to their messages and the truth behind it. So, Thomas, it's time to wake up and it's time to start making a change. So what are some things that our parents listening can do right now that can begin making a change in their home environment for themselves and for their children?
Great question, Bonnie, and I'm glad you asked. Because it's all about bringing awareness. Remember the piece of green stuff in our teeth? We're going to be a little embarrassed because someone pointed it out. But at the end of the day, we say thank you versus allowing people to just walk around and figure it out later on their own. So here's something I'd like you to bring awareness to. When was the last time your child asked for something? You showed them how you do it, which could be something as simple as I bought it, I traded something, or I made it myself. And then you gave them those action steps and you let them do it on their own. Not for the first 30 seconds where they go, and you jumped right in. No, you let them struggle. And every time that we heard a struggle, whether it was a cry as a 5-year-old, a cry from a 10-year-old, or a cry from a 15, 20, 25-year-old still living at home, and we began to bring our awareness that, oh my gosh, I am overcompensating. And you let the child struggle. But what you begin to do is you begin to hear their obstacle that they see. You see, children learn everything on top of a cry. That's what we started off with. And when they cry, it comes down to this simple complaint. I don't know what to do next. Or better yet, when I cry, you're my hero and you come to the rescue. I either don't know how or I don't want to. And see, now the awareness is to go, wow, what if I actually heard their obstacle, their complaint, and I knew in my heart of hearts that they really are just don't know what to do next, or they just figured out that they trained me when they cry, I would come running. And you just put a positive note to it. Educate or motivate. You see, the education comes from you. Your children picked you when they came into this earth to show them how it works. They're not our property. We don't own them. They are dependents. They depend on us to show them how it works so we can do it for them. We begin to do it with them so they can now do it all on their own. See, the education comes from you. Monkey see, monkey do. Everything that you talk about on this phone, you either were Steve Jobs and you created one, you made it, you made a trade, or you spent money on it, you bought it. Show them the truth. Let them pick which one. Now, the other part is motivate. What if it was all about vision? And I know you heard it somewhere before that people without vision perish. Oh, I want one of those. You betcha. I'd love for you to have one of those. What do you see? You went through an interview process. What would you do with it? Well, this is how I did it, son. This is how I did it, daughter. And you let them pick one of the games to go. And when they struggled and they found that obstacle, that's where we can develop that muscle called perseverance. So a cry is short-lived. It lives for just a little nanosecond. I can see you run into an obstacle. Let me know when you're done celebrating the cry victory of finding that obstacle, and let's play a game called Opposites. Let's turn obstacles into opportunities and learn how to problem solve, or in this case, solution find. That's the struggle. That is when we look to nature and to see how true this is, that when that butterfly is working its way out of that cocoon, you betcha there's a lot of obstacles. And it's the process of growing or dying in that critical moment that the strength of the fluid can get into the little capillaries of that butterfly. And if we come over and we overcompensate and just help it out just a little, it doesn't get a chance to develop, and that butterfly will never fly. So yes, if you're hearing me correct, I'm not blaming you. If you take it blame, then you're missing the point. If we don't know, that's okay. Here it is. We have a job to do. Teach our kids these life skills so we can be, do, and have everything that our children desire. Show them after you've done it for them, and then continue that process of handing it over so they can do it all on their own. Because the fact that we're missing this simple fact, this is the contributing factor that if it is to be, it's up to me, and we want to play the responsibility card, parents, we must look at ourselves and say, if we can change, this whole suicide thing will be a thing of the past. And that we can guarantee.
Awesome, Thomas. Thank you so much for sharing. See, you might want to listen to this podcast a few times because there was a lot of gold nuggets shared just now. You see, Mom, Dad, the strongest oak tree is not the one that's hidden and sheltered from the storms and the hot sun. It's the one who stands alone in the middle of the field that must endure all the obstacles and all of the struggle, because it's failing forward fast that helps our children build roots. It's struggle that helps our children build characteristics and virtues inside their heart that will carry them to success now and forever. Roots are the strength and the pillar of your child. It will give them purpose, motivation, desire, perseverance, and the power to succeed at whatever they choose for themselves. You see, we've got to stop living our own youth through our kids. We've got to stop making decisions that we make because we want our kids to feel loved and be happy. And the truth is the more that you allow your child to step up and step into their own personal purpose and responsibility, the more they will be authentically happy. The more that they'll be prepared for this world to live it on their own without you. Because what if your child turns 16 and has no outside life skills and something happens to you? Do you really think there's anybody on the planet that loves your child enough to take the time to work with them and teach them? You see, we have a job to do. Parenting is a job. We don't have to control these little ones for 18 years and tell them what to do every single day. It's our job to prepare them for the real world. If you want the truth behind the breakdown of today's youth mental health, make sure you get our new must-read ebook for all parents, Raising Healthy, Happy, Cooperative Kids. It exposes the biggest lie in human history, gives you hope that your child has pure potential to live a happy, purpose-driven life. And finally, we give you direction where you can learn the life skills, where you yourself can grow as an individual and as a parent, so that you can become the hero that your child depends on you to be. If we've said something that resonated, please do click like on this video or this podcast. Please do share it with your friends, because we don't want to wait until one of our own teenagers commits suicide to make the difference, right? We're doing our best. We feel morally obligated to share this information with you. If you have any specific subjects you'd like us to talk about, please do. Feel free to send us an email to support@creatingchampionsforlife.com and go download that book, learntospeakkid.com. Free download, immediate access. And if you've already downloaded it, make sure you read it. Thank you so much for being here. We love you. We appreciate your search to help your kids find a better way. We just appreciate your presence. Have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode, Learn to Speak Kid podcast on iTunes.
Get over here! Because I said so! Why do I have to keep repeating myself? Mom or Dad, do you ever feel like a broken wrecker? You're listening to Learn to Speak Kid podcast on iTunes with Bonnie and Thomas Leota, positively transforming families one out of control child at a time.